Hi, this is Michael Schmalley from Toyota Graphics LLC, and I'm here to do a deconstruction of a Kenny Lammer's slash indie pixel example on his Discord channel. Why? Because Discord has a bad habit of losing things down its endless pit of scrolling, and there's no way to get it back if you don't know what you're searching for. So, here's just something I decided to save from the trash can and recycle. So we start off with the circle as the base shape, and that creates the amount of bricks, and here he has the division at 19, or I switched it, I don't know. And then we have the poly extrude, which then he extrudes from the inside and creates primitives. As you can see, we go from one primitive to 19. And now, since he did that, he can use those primitives in the for each loop. So after he reverses it to get the normals going the correct direction, he contains the bevel and the extrude in the loop, and it works on each piece. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll check all the way around. So then we bevel it, extrude, and boom, we're done. We have it all. So now we have the bricks. It's also a nice retaining wall right there. The next step, he takes and groups together the hard edges. So edges that are hard are underneath 68, and edges that are smooth are above. So he takes that hard edge group and then poly bevels it, so it will take these edges here, and then he adds that nice little bevel on it. And then we take the copy. So he uses the B-box function, which basically takes the bounding box, which is the measurement of the extreme top, bottom, left, right, and gives you information for that, so you can use it in offset calculations. In this case, the offset calculation is the height, y. So he's measuring the height of the brick, and then the copy is then translating that height up, y, the specific amount of times, which here is 6. So then we've got a well. There's a little bit of rotation magic going on here that I'm not going to get into because it gets a little complicated to get this to work, but just know about that this doesn't work right out of the bat. You kind of need to know what you want to do with that rotation because it will mess things up a little bit. All right, scratch that back. The rotation is just, it's one of those fiddly parameters in this thing that it's adjust to taste, basically. So you can see I set it to 0, and if we go up, you're just shifting. So the rotation is dependent on how you extrude the original into how many pieces. And it can, I mean, the divisions here, so it can start to look weird, but you could go and adjust it, the rotation on the copies, to offset a bit more, so you could get a little more like that. You can, I'm sure you could tie this together with the magic property. I just haven't tried. So after the copy in the BB box, which is the only H expression in here, he adds some vertex colors using a ramp. So he's basically taking the height, again, of the main detail, which is all the layers of the bricks, and then creating a gradient from it, getting the value for each point, and then assigning that point value. So you can see the lower it is the gray, and then the higher in Y is the blue, because of this ramp gradient ratio. It's calculating a ratio within here. It's taking the float and then interpolating it within this gradient to figure out what color it is based on the Y height. And then he added a bend to show that you can then do some weird stuff to this if you want to make it more lifelike, if it's a sagging well or whatever. This is an example of, just adding some variation little bends. I mean, a little bend. He's also using the bounding box in the capture length, which sets this bottom and top, which pancakes it basically. So if you change the capture length, it changes the access of how the bend actually occurs and how it happens, where it happens. You can get some weird stuff if you don't have the math set up right on the bend tool. And then he adds some normals, which fixes a lot of the shading issues. And then he adds a game dev occlusion node, which just calculates some cheap occlusion. And then he takes that occlusion and mixes it back with a wrangle and then multiplies it on top of the base color. So index 1 is this input right here on the attribute wrangler, and that he's getting the point, the current point, the point number, and then he's multiplying that color found on the point in the occlusion. He's multiplying it against the base color that he set up in this, and then that will darken the base color with the ambient occlusion. And then he has a null out, and that is about it. So anyway, that is the well brick kind of deconstructed a little bit, and there's a bunch of ways you can add to this and keep it going. Thanks. Until next time.